What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah. Tonight, I'm joined by Joel.
Hey!
And James.
What's up?
For everybody listening to the audio version, they have no context on what your face is doing. So all they hear is, welcome, Joel. Hey!
Well, here's the context. I swear, every single time I say it like that, I always picture myself popping up like that dog from NES, like the light gun. Duck Hunt. Yeah, I just, hey! Yeah, all right.
Howdy, neighbor.
That's what I always think of. Okay. So, tonight, we have a fun show for you. Dave isn't here. He's off at his niece's graduation or something. But he'll be back, and we'll talk about next week. We're actually playing a game tonight that we'll talk about then. So, should be fun. But before we get into the show, just want to let everybody know, in about 2 weeks' time, we are going to be filming a Casual Shenanigans original that we are very excited about. We don't know exactly when it's going to release. Probably before Norman.
That's true.
I mean, that's probably true, but we're not committing to any particular timetable just because some of the people who work on this are also working on Norman, so whenever Norman can be worked on, not working on this. But we hope to have it out as soon as we can for you guys, and we're really excited about the concept. We hope you enjoy it. It is, of course, paid for by your Patreon money. Thank you to everybody who pledges to us on Patreon. It pays for website hosting, podcast hosting, mics and lights, although those are really awesome now. We shouldn't need to upgrade them for a very, very long time. So thank you for all of that. And it also pays for things like Casual Shenanigans Originals. So tonight's main topic is patches. Are they always a good thing? As you guys know, everybody listening, and of course my fellow hosts, which I normally address you like that, as you all know, almost every single game gets patched these days. Day one, and then the next week, and then usually a couple weeks after that, and then like if it's a pretty good game, it's usually 1 or 2 patches and it's done. Bad games might get patched nonstop, and then there are companies like DICE that will just patch Battlefield just to change things for like the next 2 years. I'm pretty sure Battlefield 4 is probably still getting balance patches. So, patches are pretty much a way of life for gamers, but is it always a good idea? And the reason we wanted to talk about this tonight is Prey. Prey came out, and by all accounts, it's a pretty fun game. It's Bioshock-esque, System Shock-esque, and it runs really well on PC. It's very well optimized, which is what they said it was going to be before it came out, but it has a critical flaw where save games start corrupting and nothing you do can reset or revert your progress back to a previous version, which it's funny that this is causing such a stir for Prey because me and several other people ran into this exact same problem with Doom, which I believe was also published by Bethesda, and Doom was still beloved as like a really, really amazing game, and I think it is an amazing game, but it had the same like save game corruption issue, which led to me actually never finishing the game after 2 attempts. But for Prey, most notably, IGN gave it a score of I think 4.0, saying that the save game corruption got to be so bad that it was literally impossible to finish the thing. And the developers have promised they're going to work on it, but a point that Dave brought up earlier today is that 4.0 is now on Metacritic as a 40. Like a 40 for a AAA game, that's rare. And that score is never going to get fixed. Like if a bunch of patches come out and they re-rate the game, Metacritic's probably never going to go back and update anything. Like that score, the sum total of all the work that went into that game is going to be summed up in a Metacritic score that reflects some very, very critical flaws at launch.
Which the majority of them are in the 80s range.
Yeah. Yeah, the majority of the reviews are good.
But you have to wonder if they were finished the game or not.
Well, a lot of reviews don't, and that's something we've known in the past is that like a lot of reviewers play enough of the game to get a pretty good idea, but they don't necessarily beat it. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Like, did some of them hit that bug and then go, "Oh, well, it was probably just happened to me, no big deal. I can still finish the review," or did some people keep it quiet because they didn't want to cause a problem, or did some people never run into it? Probably plenty of people never ran into the problem. So, yeah, we want to talk about patches. So, let's start with, do you guys like the idea of a day one patch?
It's kind of frustrating to get a new game.
Yeah.
to put the disc in, or if you're Joel, just download it, and then you then have to wait for the patch to be added, and that can be anywhere from like a small few hundred megs to like dozens of gigs of download.
Elder Scrolls Online was 16 gigs.
Jeez.
Yeah.
There's the infamous Tony Hawk one, which was larger than the game size on the disc. You're like, here's the real version of the game plus more game.
So yeah, it's frustrating. I mean, just as a user, getting home with the game and getting excited to play it, and then sitting and waiting for another hour.
Yeah,
I have pretty fast internet, so it's not that long. Like, it's not that annoying, but it is still annoying. It's annoying that everybody has that same experience, especially like Christmas morning or something like that.
Oh,
where,
yeah.
You put the game in, you have to have the patch.
Mm-hmm. That's one really good bit of advice I saw a couple years ago was if you're buying a console or a game for your kids for Christmas, take it out of the box, plug it in, set it up, install everything,
absolutely.
put it back in the box, give it to them.
Okay. Spending all day
I've
Christmas
done
updating.
that before. It's definitely the way to go.
So Joel,
awesome.
you don't like day one patches either, it sounds like.
No, I just to me, it drives me bonkers because I think it's so extremely lazy. Now, yes, I think games are massive nowadays. They're huge. They're doing a lot more things than they did back in the day, in some standards. I guess in some ways, but yeah, it's frustrating because to me, I mean, again, I would love if you could have a couple hours with someone working over at EA or at Ubisoft that would actually be able to answer you, answer this question of saying, are you guys gonna go out of business if it doesn't release this day? Are you gonna go out of business? Like, what are the stats that say you guys cannot wait 2 more months to do a little bit more patching and be up to code where you're like, this is really solid? I would really love to know that, like how dependent are they on it? It's because in a way sometimes it's kind of amazing finding out. Like, my wife worked at Old Navy and stuff, and when you hear like this huge business, right, making millions and millions of dollars, but then you find out like the store she might be working at or stores around here because she had to travel a little bit, and learn from different places, is you find out like, wow, they're barely making making ends meet. But it's like when you think of how much money they're pulling in a day, like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. But again, it does cost so much to have the huge building, to cost all the shipments bringing in. There's so many extra hidden fees. So I am curious sometimes when you see these games coming out, like, guys, like, freaking wait a month or two. Like, I think they're so set. I think there used to be a time when right before Christmas and those times were the biggest times to buy a game. But I don't really think it's that way that much anymore. Like, I think there's certain toys or certain objects or certain things you can buy that I think work really well with that type of scenario. But I don't think it works anymore for games. I think people buy games when it makes sense, when the game's good and it just, when it just comes out. Like, if you promote it well, I think it's going to sell well. I don't think it has to always be November. It's like, hey, let's release Call of Duty, then the next week freaking Battlefield. Mm-hmm. But then one game is going to have horrible patches. Like, to me, I like patches in a way when the game is not, like, something's not working and then they patch and it works better. You know what I mean? That's great. I like that part after, I'm glad they patched at least, as opposed to, you might get an old NES cartridge, a game that just doesn't work or really, really bad, and there's nothing they can do to fix it. You know what I mean? You're stuck with it. But back in those days, that really didn't happen that much. That was not a thing you'd run into. You would just have a game and it would work. It could be a crappy game, but it worked. But nowadays, you can get a crappy game and it not working.
See, my problem with day one patches is that they had a deadline set, but you have to wonder why you have a patch. It's not like people are getting copies and they're finding new bugs. Like, these are bugs they're putting on the disc and they know about, and they're giving it out to people as a finished product, knowing that they have extra time to work on, like, the fixed stuff. I don't have a problem with, I like patches for when they release the game and find out, oh wow, we didn't see this when we were doing all our testing, or this, a lot of people ask for this feature, we can add this in. But when you know you're releasing a not finished product to a disc because you have that safety net of, oh, we can just patch that in the coming weeks or months. I don't know how long it takes to...
It's about a month usually between when something goes gold and it releases. I think it's like about average.
I mean, that to me is... It's giving out a broken product and hoping your patch fixes that product.
I actually have a slightly different opinion than I would have. I would have agreed with you guys pretty hardcore a couple years ago, and on principle, I think I still do agree. Now that I manage a team that includes developers, not game developers, but website and app developers, just getting a little bit of insight into how complex some of that stuff can be, some of it starts to make more sense, because there's even things that we have made that are widely regarded as being, this is a good thing, it works, everybody has generally favorable impressions of it. There are usually issues behind the scenes that were either deemed not significant enough to invest the resources to fix because it's not going to detract from the product, or improvements we could make if we had extra time and extra resources, but we don't. So the idea of a game going gold and then going, okay, well, we have a team of developers sitting around, we have 30 days till the game launches. Why not have them work on some bug fixes? Why not have them work on making the game better? If you have resources and they've locked it down, we're like, we can't really add significant new features, we can't add significant new amounts of content, or we shouldn't be. All that should be done if we're just making optimizations and improvements. On the one hand, you want to say, well, like, why not? Like, why wouldn't you do that? That makes total sense. If you can make the game better, spend extra time and make the game better. I think that's only a problem when that's used as a crutch.
I think that's wishful. I think that's wishful thinking.
Well, I say when it's used as a crutch, it's a problem. There are plenty of games that release that are fine. They get a day one patch. It fixes some stuff that you may not have noticed anyway, or it fixes some minor issues, and then you go on about your day. Like, that happens most of the time. Most of the time, games don't release totally broken. It's when they are broken or significantly delayed and then broken, like Mass Effect Andromeda. You got to assume the game was having problems. They delay it. Like almost every AAA game gets delayed at some point or another. The game comes out, they still haven't fixed all of the problems. Like, it still has issues and they still have to release a bunch of patches. That's probably because they delayed it and they're like, well, no, we don't want to delay it again. Like, some money now is better than no money later. And you'd like to assume that publishers know what they're doing when it comes to that. And they're like, no, it's worth releasing it, even if it's slightly broken, if that costs us some sales, because we can patch it and fix it, and it's not worth waiting the extra time it would take to fix it to get sales. But enough publishers and stuff go out of business. Like, maybe they know what they're doing, maybe not. Some of them definitely do. Some of them know how to play that game, but maybe some of them don't. But anyway, like, now that I'm more hands-on with the development process, I think I understand more how even if you do a really, really good job and you try really hard and you hit all your deadlines and stuff, there can still be unknown things that you just didn't expect. In our case, it could be, well, now that things are a lot more complicated than they used to be on the internet, like, you didn't used to have to make things mobile responsive. You didn't used to have to code like with a bunch of different browsers in mind. Like, there didn't used to be all those different things. You could just like make the static page and that's the page. But now you have to worry about how's all this content going to reflow when somebody changes the page to any size that you don't necessarily have control over. What's going to happen when they're viewing it on some weird browser you've never heard of? Like, what's going to happen when they're viewing it on a 3G connection compared to a fiber line? Like, there's just a lot of variables now.
Except these patches have nothing to do with that. They have to do with save games.
No,
and that had a day one patch.
No,
so that's the funny thing is, like, a day one patch.
In Prey's case, I agree.
Yeah,
in Prey's case, I totally agree. I'm saying in general, I think the idea of a day one patch is good, because even if you do a really good job, you never know what additional testing might uncover, and shouldn't you make every effort to fix that as quick as you can? Of course you should.
I think it's the absolute best case scenario.
I agree.
I think that most studios use that time to... They get it on disc because they have to get it on disc because they have to get it on the store shelves by a certain
Getting on
date.
disc is like a rubber stamp of, look, we did it. We finished the game.
And then they scramble in that month to fix as much as they can by launch. And we've seen way too many games come out that are just absolute trash for optimization, or just actually game breaking. I mean, Dark Knight. What was it called? Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight, yeah.
Like, that was just an awful, awful port. And we see more and more awful ports. I can't believe that everybody's just like, you know, let's keep making better content. Let's make this a little better. Let's optimize this more. I've seen too many development teams, and I've seen a lot of development teams where I work, where they set their deadlines arbitrarily. Mm-hmm. I mean, in a game studio, they have certain windows they want to do based on, you know, when people are spending the most money. Mm-hmm. But it's still technically arbitrary. Like, no one's going to die if your game doesn't come out for holiday. Like, if it's a really good game, they're going to wait till April or March or whatever.
But couldn't you also make the case that, like, what's to stop them from just keeping waiting? Like, if it's an arbitrary deadline, why not keep pushing it back? Like, at a certain point, don't you just have to launch it as good as it is?
Well, the thing is, it comes down to, you know, who's running it and who's actually, like, you know, leading the team that's working on this and allowing it, and what budget you have. Because, again, none of this, you know, you could have the team that worked on Prey. There could be a lot of awesome people that worked on it, did amazing jobs, and they did the best they could. But when it comes down to the manager, whoever's running it, the top boss who, you know, owns it, you know, the company is paying for it.
Not a dig at you, Jeremiah.
No, well, he's not the top boss.
He's taller than the top boss.
He's taller than the top boss. But you know what I mean? Like, they define a deadline and that's it. So ultimately, the team that developed it is awesome. Whoever made the decision to put it out there, that's what it is. It's still ultimately, I mean, it's going to be a failed project, a bad project that doesn't come out right. It's like, I mean, you don't do that for movies, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we had half sound, sorry. We'll patch the Blu-ray. Hopefully that doesn't become a thing down in the future, you know, where would you like to release half the movie now?
But you do get movies that are poorly cut, or they have bad audio,
and they're poor movies,
right? And they're just bad movies. But there's no mechanism to there's no mechanism to patch them.
Yeah.
Although you can get a director's. Actually, that's not true. The director's cut of Batman versus Superman is pretty much him going back and going, no, I'm going to fix all these problems, and it actually was a lot better.
Did you finally watch it?
Oh, I watched. Joel hasn't. I saw it like right when the director's cut came out. I think that movie. That's right. I actually think that version of the movie is pretty good. Like I think it's a seriously good movie.
It made a lot more sense.
Yeah, but that's rare though. You know, most of the times movies don't get the patched version.
Yeah, I agree with James.
George Lucas tried it.
I just think it should be, you know, like best case scenario, do whatever you can to add stuff, like, because again, I don't. Like, playing games nowadays, if it's something online related, let's say you're trying to jump into a server, when it's the top game of the year, when, I mean, millions of people are on it, I just expect it's just going to be down no matter what. Because I don't think I've seen any... What is going on?
Amber Alert.
Oh, okay. All right, there we go. Stop buzzing. But yeah, I mean, like... I don't know. It's just frustrating because it's just so prevalent now that it's not usually, oh, wow, this patch is awesome. It's more of like, did it fix anything? Did it make things worse? You know? Mm-hmm. And you either can't use barely any of the features without doing the first patch anyways. So it's like a 2 gig patch, whatever it is. I think it's really poor planning. And I think like, if they're that behind on it, it's like, dude, you guys just fixed like the last 15% of the game. Maybe I can understand patches being for, hey, here's a 50 megabyte thing. We are doing some online network stuff. Bam, here you go. But it's like, oh, wow, okay, you just gave us the last 15% of the game. That wasn't a patch. That was a straight huge fix.
Well, I'll ask another question then. What if they can't fix it? Like, how many patches would it have taken for DayZ to be fixed? Like, what if the game is fun enough people will play it, but has fundamental issues with the engine or something else where it's not going to get better than a certain amount? Like, it's just impossible. It will only ever be but so good.
Then you know it's not that great of a game.
Potentially. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, but if you're the publisher and you get to that point and you figure it out, do you not release it? Or do you go, all right, well, I'm going to try to get some of my money out of this, like some of our investment out of this, we're still going to release it? I mean, what do you think is the right move?
Well, okay, I was actually talking with Dave a little bit this earlier. Imagine this scenario. I think IGN had some balls to be able to honestly to give it a 4.0 because for me, again, I don't think I've ever played a game that I've ever really experienced a bug that really ruined it, except for honestly Battlefield 4 that no matter I was on PS4 or PC, it ruined my save files. And I was pretty pissed because I both played it 6 hours into the campaign and I was actually enjoying it. But so I wasted 12 hours playing the game and I wasn't even able to finish it because their online system basically, it thought I was way back farther and it removed my save file from my PC. Like it did only cloud-based thing. I couldn't fix it. Whatever. But outside of that, like I was like, if more games like this got 4.0s, they would not dick around anymore. I guarantee you that. They would not go, oh, we'll be okay. We'll let it slide. We'll have a good 2 weeks to patch it. Game developers would be much more, oh shit, we got to get this thing out right. It's got to work because people are going to be pissed.
And what's one of the reasons behind that? Something Dave brought up earlier today.
Yeah, I think it's that, but I think we've
do
also
you
gotten
say
used
what it
to
is?
What's from the what? Sorry.
How about bonuses or pay for
yeah.
games? Sometimes it's not. This isn't like every publisher.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's like bonuses of if a game gets above like an 85 Metacritic score or something, like you will get more money. It's possible if it gets a low enough Metacritic score and that affects sales, it's possible your studio gets shut down or you get pulled off lead for the next project or whatever else. Like it actually affects people's money.
It does, but then there should be motivation to do well.
And
It
again,
should, but it sucks if like it sucks if, you know, there's good people on every team. There's probably crummy people on every team. It sucks if a decision like that kind of wrecks it for everyone else, you know?
Oh yeah,
So who
I
are
know,
the crummy
but
people on your team at work?
What? What'd you say?
Who are the crummy people on your team at work? Joel. I'm just kidding.
But I mean, like for patches, again, I don't hate patches. I think it's fine after a couple of weeks, even the game came out, then there's something, that just adds additions. And okay, here's probably one of the biggest bummers that felt really weird. It was when I got the Nintendo Switch and I got Zelda. It was the first Zelda game, or first, honestly, Nintendo game I've ever played that I've not seen like absolute perfect frames per second in a game. Like Nintendo is just, every game they do is just, it's incredibly polished, right? And I remember playing, and it wasn't bad, but it was just a tiny bit. But that's how much you can notice when it's a Nintendo game. It has any hiccup at all in a problem. And it was like a patch came out and it fixed it and it runs flawless now. But it was one of those kind of things where I'm like, it's a very weird age now that we're finally at Nintendo games needing a patch to fix it. I'm like, ugh. Like, I don't think it's going to be
Back in the day, it was just part of the charm if it was crappy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, but it was just kind of weird. But I think we've gotten used to it because, again, every system is online capable. So it's like, oh, sweet, we're getting new content. But I feel like it's less we're getting new content and we're desperately fixing our games before people don't play them anymore. And I think even more with first-person shooters or just games in general that are like that, they only have a year shelf life and then they're gone. It's like you play that online game until the season passes are done, and then it's kind of like, oh, I'm ready for the next version. That's why I think they have to do so many of the season passes and the prestiges and all the unlocks. It's like, please play our game, because they know it's only going to be really relevant for 1 year because the next huge game's already out. I don't know. It's just interesting. It just sucks that there's more fixing as opposed to just additions and more cool stuff.
It's
The
also
only problem I had with the IGN score of the game is I felt like a 4 is kind of emotionally based. Like knowing that they probably are going to patch something out, I don't know if the game necessarily deserved a 4 because it'll stay a 4. If I were at IGN, I would have said, let's give a score of, if I had to review it right now, unpatched, I would give it a 4. We'll revisit it when they fix this problem, type thing, and I think I'd give probably a more honest review. I mean, in the words in the article, he did say that all these things that were fantastic about it, but
maybe that's one of those things that goes back to like how useful are review scores, because it doesn't matter how many nice things he says in the article. If to a lot of people, like, all that matters is that you got a 4. Like, who cares if he thought it was a good game that was marred by this significant problem. Like not being able to finish the game, I can say that's a big enough problem that you shouldn't give it a pass of any kind. But you know, I agree with what you're saying. Like a 4 does seem really low, but again, literally being unable to finish the game, I mean, that's a potentially significant thing if it's not patched immediately, and it does make you wonder, like, how did they not know? Maybe they didn't. I mean, they honestly may not have ever run into this bug before it released, but there had to be some games like,
Let's
you know.
be honest, it's Bethesda.
I mean, No Man's Sky, it's not like they didn't run into those bugs before it released. You know, like Arkham Knight, they knew it was garbage when they released it. Like, there's no way they didn't know. But there's always the chance. The famous example being like New Vegas, where if you wear a cowboy hat after a certain mission and go to the Sunset Strip, like your saves get corrupted.
Wow,
how would
spoiler.
Yeah. Well, it's like, how would they have known? You know, like they can't test every permutation of the game. Like there's probably something out there, and most people will never encounter it. It sucks, you know. But
now I don't think I've told you guys this before, but I haven't actually bought a game based on a review for years.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, I never buy games at all for reviews. The only time I actually care about reviews is if it's a game I already love. I just like seeing what other people say about it. That's all I care about. But I have not bought a game based off a review for a long, long time. The only time I'll ever buy a game off of a review is if it's a game I've never even heard of. That's kind of a more of an obscure one. And Dave's like, or you know, someone sends me like, "Hey, look, this game sounds cool," and I read it, and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds awesome," because I haven't ever heard of it before. But if it's a game I've heard of, I just if it entices me, I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. I'm going to play it. Like the Prey, I played 5 minutes and immediately deleted it because I was like, I don't want to play anymore because I want to play this game. It just totally seemed like Soma, and it reminded me of Deus Ex a little bit. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a great game. I'm going to love this. This is right up my alley. But like, I have not even read any of the reviews except for just the IGN one I saw, because I was like, oh, wow, 4.0. I was like, what's going on here?
I only do reviews that I can watch, so I can actually see what the mechanics look like and see if it looks like something I would enjoy playing.
Yeah.
And usually I'll look at like IGN or game trailers just to kind of get an idea of what they score it, but that doesn't sway me as much. There's actually a cool reviewer, I think it's ACG Gaming or AGC Gaming. The end of his review is based on buy now, buy on sale, like wait for it to go on sale, rent, or never buy. I think that's probably a little more helpful when someone says, you know, get this game, but wait till it's really deeply discounted. But anyway, sidetrack.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm like, I just don't trust reviews anymore. Or if I do trust them, like it doesn't really matter to me because, I mean, there's so many people that are so different in playing game. Like, okay, even like how different, you know, Dave is for playing games, right?
Well, if you talk about Wildlands, you had a completely different take on it than...
Yeah, I am getting all this footage together because I kind of want to make a before the court judge on the game or review, because I think it's a fantastic game. And my perspective is I think it's just as good as Arma for the people that love Arma. Like, that if they like that game, it may not be for them, but I think it's a good game for people that maybe enjoy it, but it just didn't have a good starting point to get people into the game. But anyways, the reason why, because Dave and I, we were joking about today because we were that Western game, and I was like, Dave, I could see you playing in that game, not doing anything, like no bandits, no shooting. You're just a farmer, or like managing, like, or you're a sheriff of a town, but the town is so boring, like all you do is paperwork. And Dave's like, I'd be so immersed. And I was like, and it just made me laugh because I'm like, in Dave's perspective, he could review a game that I would find so absolutely boring, but he would love every second of it because his play style is so perfect for that, you know? So it's like, for me, it's like a lot of the reviews, like, it's like, I just don't care. Like, I enjoy sometimes reading them, but I don't really care too much about what they're talking about, especially when it comes to like PlayStation VR games or stuff like that. It's like people don't even play the game more than 10 minutes and they're like, oh, what is this? I generally look for like-minded people for a game. Like, if I like this type of game, if someone says, oh, it's very like Dark Souls, I'll check it out, because I'm like, if you really like Dark Souls, you might have a certain type of mindset that's similar to mine just to enjoy that kind of game. So I tend to like go for that, as opposed to like, yeah, as opposed to just going, oh, this is a 9.0. I'm like, okay, that's great because you really liked it and it has awesome graphics. But it's like, I just look for the type of person that matches up with me as opposed to review score or anything.
But it is a little exciting when you see a game that you're really excited for getting a really high score.
Oh,
Like,
especially
you
seeing Zelda, like,
getting a 10.
Yeah,
It's
10s
like,
everywhere.
sweet, validated. One thing I did want to say about the patching and everything, the fear that I have, and we see it, I think, a lot now, is AAA game. Patching is like AAA early access. Like early access, you're working through the bugs. You're basically, you sign the thing, but they have that little disclaimer that you were committing to helping out with the development and, seeing it in its early stages. I feel like there are AAA games that are coming out like that. You're playing the early access version that we know that'll get better later on.
Yeah. And I think companies can get away with it, or at least some can, because again, if it's Star Wars, right? You would have to really do something horrible for me to not want to play something or to experience something Star Wars related. Like, you really have to, because even I know I'm being duped, but I love Star Wars so much that I'm willing to be duped a little bit to still experience something that someone's going to build Star Wars, right? But I think you can only go off that for so long until it's not good it's not good anymore. You know what I mean? Because okay, even like when Wildlands came out, right? Everyone hated the in-game radios. It's just really stupid. Like, they're just obnoxious and you hear them everywhere, right? Now, I think what they did as a cool patch is they enabled the ability you could turn it off. That's not a game-breaking bug. That's something they didn't expect, that everyone was just going to hate the radio. You know what I mean? So I'd say, okay, thanks. I'm happy for a patch because I really don't like that feature at all. It's so annoying. Thank you that you kind of fixed it. But it's like, man, when it comes to, I can't get in the game. I can't load it. Like, I definitely know if I was playing Prey and I got 25 hours in and I lost my save, I'd probably be done with the game. I wouldn't play it again because I would not play through 25 hours again to finish it. I only barely made it through Fallout New Vegas but I had like 60 hours in, and I knew I easily had another 100 hours after that, but I lost it at 60 hours. That was one of my favorite games ever, and I lost a save file. Like, that's kind of gut wrenching when it's like a game you absolutely love, but I got to play through 60 of the same hours I just did. For me, I just can't do it. I know some people can do like 50 replays of a game and be happy with it, but for me, I just lost money on it because I can't finish my game that I love.
I mean, that's the same reason I haven't finished Doom.
Yeah. Like, I remember you saying that. That sucks.
I want to. Now that I've got the 1080 Ti, maybe I'll go back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't mean I hate the 60 hours experience I had in it. Kind of like Lost. I love the journey.
Just the ending
I would
sucked.
still give it a huge, incredible high ranking for Lost being the best show ever, but
Best show ever?
definitely one of the best shows.
You said
Best
best.
show
One of.
experiences, at least.
One of the
Alright.
best,
Yeah,
One of the best.
if you don't include the last episodes.
So well, if you don't include like most of seasons 4 and 5, first half of 6. Anyway,
No,
we can talk about this later. Or not, or we can never talk about it again and we'll still be happy. That's fine.
Every once in a while, Joel and I will talk about Lost and get like equally triggered. Like, that boiling rage will build back up. That felt that
James, we're
night.
getting close to 10 years since the end of Lost.
I still have as much anger
I
in my soul for that ending.
I can't imagine if they completely screw up Star Wars so bad. If I'm this angry about Lost, oh man, I don't even want to know.
I don't even know if I want to live near you.
No, I don't know if I want to live near myself. Oh man.
Like, Joy can come live with us. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I will give everyone a warning that.
Oh, warning. Okay.
No, I'm saying if I see Star Wars and I hate it so much, I will calmly text everyone and say, I will never talk about Star Wars. Don't say anything to me ever again, please, about Star Wars. That's how it's going to be. I will not be able to handle it.
You'll do the man thing. Just bottle it up so deep down inside that a little part of you dies.
It will never end. It will never end. It will be with me for the rest of my life.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we hop into what are we playing this week?
So,
all right. It's now time for what are you playing this week? Part of the show where you talk about whatever you're playing and stuff. So, let's go first.
I bought Farming Simulator 15.
All right.
that sounds like fun.
It's actually really cool. It's just an open world sandbox type thing, and you can cut down trees and buy new farm equipment. It's I don't know what seems so appealing about it to me, but
It's not co-op, is it?
I don't know. It might be.
Because I would love a game like that in co-op. If it's done well enough, yeah, that would actually be really fun.
It's pretty popular.
How about you,
Anything
Joel?
else?
Or yeah,
Oh,
anything
yes.
else, James?
I don't think so.
All right, Joel.
Just playing a crap load of Battlegrounds, Mario Kart, Wildlands.
Oh, did
Zelda.
you actually bought Mario Kart?
Oh yeah, I did.
I knew you were. You said you
I
didn't
know.
know.
I know.
I knew
I
you were
know.
going to buy it
I
at
knew.
launch.
It's so good.
You know,
Oh, okay,
Minecraft
I
came
will
out
say
today. How
what
many
you-
times you bought that game?
I'm not planning to buy that one. Not at all.
Not
On the
planning-
go. On
not
the go.
planning to buy it.
Got that
I'm not
Mario.
planning to
Got
buy
that
it.
Mario mashup, Joel.
That does actually look fun. That one level looks fun.
That's how it starts. The fever, the
Planting
rage.
seed. The rage. I will say, my mind was changed about Mario Kart after having the Switch for a while because I think it's one of the coolest systems I've ever owned. Like, it's just so nice having the portable and everything. Man, it's so cool.
Did you play it all? Did you play multiplayer with the little Joy-Cons?
Oh, it's so good too. Yeah, it controls really well. I'm actually letting Ben borrow it. He's going out of town for a week for a vacation. He really wants to get one, and so I'm gonna let him borrow it for a week just to kind of. He'll get used to it. He'll like it. Then he'll have to get one, and then he'll have another Mario Kart friend.
Just to seal in the deal.
Seal in the deal.
No, you let him borrow the game or the system.
I'm
Oh, I guess
gonna
you have
borrow
to
the whole-
because you
yeah,
don't buy
yeah.
cartridges.
Yeah, no, I haven't bought a disc game since Battlefront for Joy.
Wow.
I've been playing Battlegrounds. That's really all I've played in the last week.
Did you play Arma with everyone?
Oh yeah, I did play Arma. But Battlegrounds I played with actually somebody from work. Played last night. We won a match.
Oh, awesome.
I just got the notification he's playing Battlegrounds right now. We won a match.
Itch.
Me, Mikey, and Brett. We got down to like right near at the end, and there was another guy with us who we weren't talking to. He was just put in our squad because we were playing quads, and he stayed with us and was helpful like the entire time. So it was pretty cool. But you know, when you get down to the last little circle, a lot of it comes down to luck of like wherever you're going to be positioned and what the terrain looks like and stuff. And we got lucky. Like we were engaging people, we were shooting people, like we were fighting our way in. We didn't just walk into it. But there was a building right on the edge of the barrier that like most of the building was outside the barrier except for one room on the very end was inside the barrier, and like there's 8 people left and we can't see any of them, so obviously they're in there, right? Well, then 2 guys break out and start running around the side of the building towards the part of the building that has the door, and so we're shooting at them. We pop them a couple times, they disappear into the building, and then all you hear is just gunfire everywhere. Like they all stumbled across each other, killed each other, the wall moved in, and then it must have killed the last one, and it went, you win. So like we actually didn't have to fight for the last 8 people. We just lucked out. But
The game is so satisfying when you see like 2 teams and you're getting ready to shoot them, and then you're like, whoa, wait, another car drives up. You're like, oh, I'm gonna watch this. Eat some popcorn. You hear pop, 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 pop. People running, cars driving, crashing. Oh, I love it.
yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. And then we played again, and we got down to the last group, and we almost won. We lost just enough people, and we didn't have enough trees to hide behind, and they ended up picking us off. But it was a lot of fun. Had a good time.
Jimmy, I want to play some more Rocket League.
Drop shot.
Drop shot. Is that what it's called? Drop shot?
Yeah, drop shot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I mean, make a group me event invite if you want to do it.
My first one?
Yeah, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yes.
But you got to make it late enough at night that you can get all the salt, you know.
Mark
All
and I
right.
had a blast playing that night. After
Yeah, we heard. It's now time for the news.
News time.
First bit of news I'm pretty excited about. I will start playing with my Vive any day now. I've been finishing up other videos. But one of the games I'm excited about playing, it's considered to be one of the best games on the Vive. It's called Arizona Sunshine. It's a zombie shooter, and people say
Yeah,
it's
I just saw it.
really, really good. Well, Arizona Sunshine is coming to PSVR in June with support for the new PSVR aim controller. So this will be fun. I might try to wait to review that game until the PSVR version comes out, Joel, so we can try to capture footage of both. I might be able to do an actual comparison, because the problem, or we can at least we can play them back to back and try them.
Yeah.
Because the problem with comparing most VR games is they're not available on both systems right now, or the experiences are so different. It's not really easy to compare. But that could be a good one, and it's supposed to be a really, really fun game. So I'm excited to play it on PC, and I think it's awesome that it's coming to PSVR. Now, I think it's interesting talking about the differences in the VR platforms. So you can use, of course, DualShock controllers and the PlayStation Move controllers, but on Vive, which is the other platform it's on, you've got, or if you buy an Oculus, you get motion controllers, you get 2 of them, and they're designed so each of them can do everything. And so this game was built around having 2 motion controllers. So to support the PSVR aim controller, they actually had to rebalance. If you use an aim controller, they're going to rebalance the game a little bit and make some tweaks so that you can get the same usage out of one gun that you would get out of 2 otherwise. So I think that's pretty cool. It looks like they're putting a lot of work into doing a good job.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I remember there was an interesting article I read about even for Fallout, because Fallout VR is still a thing, and that's going to come out. Apparently, people are saying it's awesome. Anyone that's been able to demo it, but they were saying converting it to VR is kind of rough, because if you use a control and you aim with it, if you have one a pistol grip, even a Vive or whatever, it feels weird using a shotgun with one hand. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel right, And then vice versa. Then you use that, and how do you work with a controller? But apparently the aim controller, they made it small enough so that you can hold it with one hand, so you can kind of do slightly a pistol feel and a rifle feel. It was kind of a cool read up on the plastic and the lightweight. They were trying to do it, but that's an interesting thing. You gotta, it's got to feel weird, because even with Resident Evil, I'm playing with a controller. You got a shotgun in front of you and stuff.
That's
it just feels
controller.
like a simpler. What's
do
that
again?
I'm older than the Wii U gamepad.
All right.
Anyway,
It's the stupidest things I noticed. I'm sorry.
I got a controller.
Well,
Do you remember the Wavebird? Do you remember the Wavebird, the GameCube controller?
That was amazing. It was the best controller ever.
It was huge.
Hey, remember that time we were on a beach trip and you were pretending to eat a sub? Anyway,
I don't remember that. What was that? Was that
No, I was playing the trumpet.
Oh, they play the trumpet. You're after the podcast.
I don't remember.
I just went ooh. I was
No, he was like this. He's like,
yeah, that's what I remembered. That sounds like what I remembered. All right, my next news item. It's a bit interesting. So, PS4 Pro has sold decently well. Of course, it hasn't sold as well as the regular PS4, but the regular PS4 has been out much longer. But this is interesting. So, who did the research? Nielsen Games. So, Nielsen, like Nielsen's TV ratings. They do the annual Games 360 report, which is a fun name from the 90s. It's a comprehensive breakdown of consumer habits in the U.S. gaming market. So, this is interesting. So, gamers, 60-some% of the population technically qualifies as gamers. But as we know, a lot of those people are, I owned a Wii once, or I do some mobile gaming or whatever. It's not,
Farmville.
most of the population is not an active console or PC gamer. But that's fine. Games are available on many platforms. Do whatever you want, of course. Just 14% of gamers over the age of 13 have even heard of Project Scorpio, while just 27% have heard of the PS4 Pro. And that's of people who are technically gamers. Just 15% of gamers said they would be interested in buying a PS4 Pro, and just 13% said a Scorpio is on their list of things they might want to buy. Now, when it comes to so that's just telling you how much awareness there is about the products. To put that in context, just 72% of gamers have heard about the Xbox One. So that lets you know about what percentage of gamers are mostly playing mobile phones and stuff. That kind of lets you know how those numbers are maybe a little bit skewed. So people who are gamers, 47% of them prefer to play on console, 27% prefer to play on PC, and 26% prefer mobile. So that doesn't mean they only play on one or the other. That means if they had to choose one or the other, they would choose that. So again, there's a little bit of what is your definition of gamer going on here.
This is also the Nielsen's.
Well, I mean, they're
rating
Damn
for
Nielsen's.
TVs
for TV they're garbage, but this sounds like it's a totally different thing, so I wouldn't assume they're totally off. But I think it's interesting because it seems like both Sony and Microsoft are pretty committed to having these higher end consoles, even though, at least for the PS4 Pro, the sales haven't been incredible. Like, it's selling fine, there's nothing wrong with it, it's not a dud or anything. But it's not like they sold 10 million in the first 2 months or something, you know, like it hasn't been a huge runaway success. It hasn't been as much of a success compared to what they were expecting as even like PS4 or PSVR, you know, but it's selling good. It is selling well. I think it's interesting because I am curious how having multiple levels of console going at the same time is going to work out for them long term, because this hasn't really been done before in this way. And if you get into like a TikTok console cycle or a lower end, higher end console that can technically play the same games, are you going to get like that curated or that nice like PC experience of, hey, you want to spend the extra money, like you want to spend a bunch of money, have we got a nicer experience for you? Or is it going to be just a, you know, remember the special PS3 controller with dual rumble sticks or something? Like, which way is it going to go long term? Because I'd be surprised if the high end version ever sells better than the regular console. Like, you know, Nvidia isn't selling more 1080s and 1080 Ti's than their mid-range stuff. Their mid-range stuff sells the most. But I would also be surprised if they completely go away. So I would be curious to see how PS4 Pro does long term and how the Scorpio does when it comes out.
I think they'll come to a point where if they get the cost down enough, they'll stop making the regular PS4s.
Probably, but that still means you're doing like a TikTok cycle where like one comes out, you go along, and then the next one comes out, and they phase the other one out, you know. But they can still technically play the same games. So
I think a lot of the I think since 4K TVs are not so huge yet, I think that also adds to it, where it's just like, I mean, if I didn't have 4K TV or I didn't really care, I mean, like, I would be totally just fine with the PS4. I enjoy getting it because I like getting new things when it comes to consoles, and it wasn't that much more to get. But I think if
Did you buy
4K
the TV for the PS4 Pro?
Yeah, I did.
So it was a little more to get. So you bought the TV for that console.
yeah.
You look at it that way.
a little more.
Yeah. But I think if everyone had more 4K TVs, I think it'd be like, oh, I get the idea. But I think the PS4 Pro is a little bit almost like, maybe a little bit harder to understand, kind of like when the Wii U came out, where it's like, what the hell is this? Is this just a new controller? I remember all of us being so confused, like, is this a new system? Is this a controller? What's going on? What's it's like, I thought it was the same thing for a while.
Plug in?
So
I
there's also 60 million people that own PS4s too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people. So not that like they've hit the limit of how many people can buy them, but I think they're pretty close, I'd say, to, you know, being up there where it's like you got to go out of town to get more people buying it. I guess that's like a retail thing. Sorry.
Oh, is that a retail thing? I was like, I don't even know what that means.
When Joy would work at Old Navy, like they, you know, to try to get people to get, you know, the Old Navy credit card or like the reward cards and stuff like that. But it was like in our small town, it was just like unfeasible. Like you kind of start maxing out until like you've pretty much gotten almost everyone. Once you're there for so long, you haven't gotten everyone, but it's like it does slow down. Like every town it happens, you know, unless you're in freaking New York City and you have so many tourists constantly. But like there's only so many cards you're going to get every day. They can't keep going up higher and higher because you've kind of exhausted your town.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I think I'm on the same page now. It's just a weird turn of phrase.
Yeah.
It's just weird to
You gotta
compare
go
that
out
to
of
like
town.
a national corporation that ships all over the world. I mean, I guess we have to go out off the planet to get more people.
I mean, you know, right now, like Google's like that Elon Musk guy. Not Google. Like Walmart's probably like that Elon Musk guy. Can he get some Walmart supplies to Mars? What do you think of the odds? Like McDonald's is standing right behind them being like, we have 400 million restaurants. What are we supposed to do?
Quick side note, but I do have one more thing to say about the high-end consoles. The side note is apparently we're going to send people to orbit the moon for like a year in preparation for hopefully sending people to Mars one day. That's interesting.
Okay, when you said side note to the high-end consoles, you meant side note in a not
side
at all
note. That was a
related.
side note. No, that was a side note to your sending people to Mars.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm waiting for this to tie back in, but I don't get
So
it.
now I'm going to
missing
go
the
back
point.
to the subject.
The shuttles are powered by the PS4 Pro.
Dude, a PS4 is so much more powerful than our shuttle computers from just even a couple years ago.
I know.
Anyway, I think part of the high-end consoles, part of it's marketing. Like if you see PS4 Pro, everybody keeps saying 4K, 4K, 4K. And like it's almost like, oh, in the fine print, you can also get a better experience on your 1080p games. And they just don't push that enough. I think people think I don't really need a 4K TV right now.
Right.
But you could technically get the benefits of the
Well,
faster
also,
console.
like, a lot of the time, the upgrades aren't that huge. That's my next news item. Prey is officially PS4 Pro enhanced. Digital Foundry could not find a single difference between the two versions.
Really?
1080p, 30 FPS, crappy texture filtering. It's the same game. There's been numerous
Why?
games I've tested that have been like that. Watch Dogs 2 just had like better textures and better texture filtering, same resolution. Like, no, not Watch Dogs 2. No, there was a different game. I'm sorry. Watch Dogs 2, it's super
Yeah, Watch
sampled
Dogs
down
2
from-
looked better. Yeah.
from 1620p. No, there's been a bunch of games though I've tested where it's been like either a small difference or not much difference at all, where I'm like, well, I don't really know why you get the PS4 Pro version. Like, the PS4 Pro is more powerful. It's not a question of the system can't do something nicer.
But
It's
you
a question
have
of
to have a developer that's going to use
the developers
it
have to
properly.
put time in to do it.
Which you're
when
only
you
going
can
to
just
get through first-party games. Really.
Yeah, and when you can just go, oh, it's enhanced, like you can just check that box by making the resolution slightly higher and doing absolutely nothing else. Like, why would people get super excited about buying it? For most people were happy with 1080p already. Most people weren't mad about 1080p. When I see people complaining on forums about the PS4 Pro, it's usually complaining because they wanted it to be 60 FPS. Like, that's
Right.
something where almost everybody can feel a difference and likes it for action games and stuff. Most people, if you're sitting at a distance looking at a TV, like, if you were happy with 1080p, 1440p, which is what most PS4 Pro games run at, is not going to be an incredible difference. Like, it's
Right.
better. But I've been playing at 4K on my computer for years now, and when I got a PS4 Pro and popped in Uncharted, I was like, oh, I can see differences. Like, this definitely looks better. Hope didn't even know. Like, she didn't even know it was different. So, like, if you're really into it, yeah, you probably want one of these. If you're not really into it, you probably were decently happy with it before. So that's something they need to keep in mind. If Sony wants this to be more powerful, they might need to stick a little bit more to what they said in their press conference, which was like, every game that comes out for the PS4 Pro will be better in these ways. No game will be worse. Like, they said a lot of like really defined stuff that it doesn't appear they're really holding their developers to. So if they want to convince people to buy the higher end version of the console, I'm assuming they'll try to learn from this and maybe do better the next time around, but I would hope that they take it a little more seriously because the console is very capable. Like, I would love for developers to use it more and give people better looking games. I mean, that's...
Do you think in that
power's
regard?
there.
Do you think in that regard the Xbox will do better?
I mean, who knows? The Xbox One is significantly...
Sales-wise.
Sales-wise. I think enough people
I mean,
haven't
they got
bought
really
the Xbox
hammered
One.
for not hitting 1080p.
They did. The
on a lot
Xbox
of
One has
games.
gotten hammered for not being very powerful. Like, it probably has really affected the Xbox One.
But if they
mean,
can come
the
out with
Scorpio-
something that actually does get some native 4K games, or
They'll
at
still be
least gets
behind on
games running well.
exclusives, but it would be a big win for them, like,
Yeah.
for his mind share. Does that translate to actual sales? Who knows? I mean, how many people want to go out and buy another Xbox? Maybe you get more new people. Same thing as, like, probably most people didn't sell their PS4 and get a PS4 Pro. We're probably getting a lot of people who are, for the first time buying one, they're like, well, I'll spend $100 more and get the nicer one. Like, why not? So
See, I would personally make the jump to Scorpio. I've not made the jump to PS4 Pro.
you would sell your Xbox One and get a Scorpio?
I don't know. Well, I don't know if logistically if I'd sell it or if I'd like give it to my son or something.
Yeah, Xbox Ones aren't worth much now either.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be that much to sell.
But you know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
enough of a jump in that particular console, and it's doing more. I mean, it's got a 4K Blu-ray player. Imagine that.
That's true.
I don't know. I think I'd be more inclined to make that investment because I think they're going to have to hold developers' feet to the fire to really use that.
All right, James, what's your news item?
This is a really quick news item, mostly for you, Jeremiah. Payday 2 is going to have a free VR mode coming out.
Really? Is it a standalone mode?
Let's see.
It's the whole game.
Really?
It's everything. Yeah, everything. Actually, well, I was actually kind of bummed because someone posted it on the PSVR forum that I was reading, and he was just saying like, "Oh, this is awesome," but I thought it was coming out on PSVR. I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I was like, "Aw," but I'm like, "That's awesome though."
So it uses a HTC 5. It uses the dual wield weapons via motion controllers. It uses the full body system, letting you duck, lean to shoot around walls or other obstacles. So that could be a lot of fun, I think. And it says, lest you think this is a mere companion experience, fear not. It's actually a full version of Payday 2.
I'll have to try that out.
And you can play with
and it's already free. It's already
too.
free for you, so it's not like you have to pay.
Like I can play it with you, not having VR. I could play regular PC version. So that right there is a huge.
Are back in town.
Actually, that is huge because I'd be willing to bet the number of people still playing Payday 2 and the number of people who own Vives who are all going to play at the same time with each other. Like that's probably a pretty low amount of people if it was like an exclusive mode. So, cool. All right, Joel, what is your news item?
Well, it's actually stolen from Dave, but Dave sent me this link. It's called Wild West Online. It's they're going to be doing a Kickstarter soon to raise $250,000 to complete more of the features they want to do, but it apparently is a working game right now. That's what it says according to the article. It's on PC Gamer. It's an open world PvP MMO for you and your friends to roam the frontier. Basically, a bunch of people said they were kind of sick of waiting for a Red Dead Redemption type online experience for the PC, and they started building one. And the link, if you look it up, it's got some screenshots, and honestly, it looks really cool. They have some really cool goals. They're hoping to release it by the end of this year, some part of it. So again, who knows what's going to happen, but I love the idea of it. And honestly, it was funny when I was first reading this, I was thinking, if I didn't have a PC, this would be a game I would probably build a PC to play if it turned out to be really good, because I love the Wild West and it being able to play they were saying over 100-man type server where like it connects and stuff like that, and it's just you can be a miner, you can be a farmer. One of their goals for Kickstarter is to build, and I think in the season 1 release or something like that would be train robberies, things like that. I'm like, again, if they could get any of this working,
train robberies.
This sounds fantastic. I'm just so exhausted by
exactly,
Kickstarted projects and early access. I'm just so like, I want to get excited about something, but then I'm like, oh yeah.
I told Dave, I said, these guys should be on the PC gaming show for the E3 thing with footage. If they showed footage and it was like awesome, that would be I think this would be a huge winner. I think because there really there's nothing like this on PC right now. That's online and that's made like this. So if they could pull it off, that would be awesome. Just being able that you could be a bandit. Also, there's no NPCs in it where if you get in trouble, they come after you. It's all up to the online community that if you do enough theft and stuff like that and you make a name for yourself, they can bring posses out and try to find you out in the wilderness. So I'm like, again, it could be really cool. So I seriously doubt they're going to pull it off because we haven't seen a game yet that's been able to do something like this really, really good. But I wish them well because it sure as heck looks awesome. So this would be something I would actually keep a PC around to play.
I do have keep it around. I'm still going to get my Mac, but I'll keep the PC in the closet. I still have high hopes for Red Dead Redemption 2 having a good online this time around. So we'll see.
James, wouldn't a Red Dead Redemption Battlegrounds type mode be pretty cool? I think in like the Red Dead Redemption or GTA style, I think that would be actually awesome.
Oh yeah,
helicopters coming in, or just all the horses.
I said that when I first played Battlegrounds. I said, man, imagine if they did a mode like this in GTA. We have this big, huge map, and everybody's driving across, taking.
I feel like they could do that in GTA 5 pretty easily.
Easily could do it.
That would sell another 30 million copies. The game that keeps selling. I swear it's gonna be like what's the game Metro 2033. Me and James had this joke for years. Every time we tried to find that game in a GameStop, it was still like $39.99.
It was just the Xbox version. It was so
Yeah,
weird.
the Xbox 360 version was so expensive.
It'd be
on
like
PC. It's like
everybody.
$10.
They'd give it away with like everything for PC. Like literally, you bought like a stick of gum, you get a free PC copy.
So either like
Of the
it's
game.
selling really well on console, which normally once games have been out for a couple years, like on console, they die out a little bit
Yeah,
faster. So either it's selling really well, or somebody bought too many copies and is like, no. If it takes me 10 years, we're getting our money out of these.
It was just funny because we joked about saying like the apocalypse happens and the money exchange where it's going to be based off a Metro 2033 Xbox 360 disc. They're so rare. It's like gold. Anyways, that's pretty much all I got.
All right. It's now time for mail time. Now, you can write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com to be a part of the show. You can totally do that. But we got some really good long-form comments on the podcast last week, our topic about have gamers lost their sense of wonder. So actually, I thought I'd read some of those comments because they are long enough to be mail. So first one is from the Lanky Soldier, friend of the show. He says, since I became a moderator on the BF1 community test environment Reddit, trust me, just going through those threads and comments, that alone leads me to depression. Don't get me wrong, there are some amazing stuff you can find from the community, but holy crap, the amount of salt and anger for something they don't understand or are completely biased towards their personal feels, it literally makes you question your existence on this planet. Noah says, in regards to have gamers lost their sense of wonder, he says, I personally have lost it for years. Now and then games come along that recapture the magic of gaming for me, but overall most games are just games to me. I've lost the ability to focus on details and appreciate the art. Instead, I play the metagame. I look for shortcuts and manipulate the game mechanics rather than play them as desired. There are exceptions to this, of course. Games like BioShock, Dishonored, Witcher 3, and other titles have amazed me each time I play them. I've noticed I tend to appreciate single-player, plot-driven works of art compared to online arenas. Ever since I joined a COD 2 clan 7 years ago, I think I just saw the underbelly of gaming. Assuming he means a COD 2 clan, I think he means a Modern Warfare 2 clan. I think I just saw the underbelly of gaming and all the behind-the-scenes
so
workings,
dirty.
which made me more competitive and less sit down and be casual. CSGO, Battlefield 4, every COD title since, and many other games have become the same way. I'm excited to play Prey because it perfectly suits my gaming style now that I've settled into a rhythm. I enjoy a linear experience with multiple approaches to everything. BioShock and Half-Life 2 are great examples of this. The story and overall gameplay remains the same on each plane, yet the way you interact with the game world may be totally different from someone else playing it. You could be stealthy, you could use melee or explosives or ballistics, you can go through multiple corridors or find a shortcut or find other ways to approach a situation. Yet it all feels natural. These are the games that amaze me. Not open worlds, for the most part anyway, not competitive multiplayer, etc. Nothing beats those well-crafted stories with amazing and innovative settings and mechanics. And then Hunter writes in and says, Freezing Madness writes in and says, I guess I didn't lose my sense of wonder at all. I mean, now I'm all excited for that Viking game that Dave was talking about. Lately, I've been playing Divinity Original Sin and I love it. My point is, that game didn't innovate graphics like Crysis did, it doesn't have a Witcher-level story or the complexity of Total War, yet it is a great game. Hunter
who was
writes
that? Who was the person who wrote the last email?
Mr. Freeze or something? Freezer Man? Jeremiah's gone.
Freezing
Hearing
Madness.
voices.
Hope brought me a, cake? What? Cake and ice cream? What happened? Why did they go get cake and ice cream? All right, so John and Debbie just decided they wanted cake and ice cream, so now I have this. This is pretty awesome.
Is it gluten free?
I'm kind of pissed because it looks like one of those things where I surprise you with a random gift, that I give hope to give you mid podcast, but now I'm waiting for my door to open with cake and ice cream. Screw you.
The little troll from the closet back in your old place is going to surprise you.
One of
these days, we're waiting
Grant's
for it.
going to knock on the door.
Oh, can I mention one thing about, I think the last comment talking about open world games? Just a quick anecdote on that, because I was mentioning this to Dave when we were talking about this topic. With the whole reviews, the 4.0 stuff, I was thinking something that's so bad about reviews now. There was an article on Kotaku or whatever.
Kotaku.
It was talking about saying, how Bethesda, they only let reviewers the 24 hours beforehand or when the game comes out or something like that. They only have a few amount of hours, right? And I was thinking, again, I think this is why like I really don't care too much about reviews, because think about the time, you know, these people throw at it, right? You could be playing the best game ever made, but if you play it for 12 hours straight or 18 hours straight and these people are plowing through it to get the review out first because they're going to get the links, they're going to get the, you know, the clickbait or whatever they want to get, you know, they're going to get the hits. That's such a terrible way to review stuff. And I think even also being careful to like how you choose your games. Like I usually don't like to choose 2 open world games back to back that are like really similar, because it's like if you play Assassin's Creed games, they could be like the second one, awesome game, and then Revelations, those are a couple really good ones. If you even play those that are phenomenal games back to back, you could probably review them much poorer than if you'd played them one time and then you waited a year and you played the next one it came out, because you're getting such a massive dose of the same, you know what I mean, of a similar type experience. It's like, oh man, it gets really stale. Well, you played it for 14 hours.
Like the guy who posted that thing on Dave's Witcher review saying he
geez.
played it 3 times and hated it so much he could barely stand it. I'm like, 3 playthroughs of The Witcher 3 and you hated the whole thing?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's like, how do you get through that?
Another guy left a comment on one of my videos this week saying like, I don't like this. This is stupid. What a ridiculous concept. By the way, I'm not even a subscriber. You can go check. Like, oh no, I'm not a subscriber anymore. I unsubscribed. And I just commented back and I was like, and yet here you are.
I can picture his car, crappy car. He's got like I don't know, like super tiny, thin wheels, but they're souped up a little bit, you know, like risen up a little bit. And then he's just like vaping out the window, playing really, really loud gangster rap. And just like, yeah, vroom, 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 puff, puff, puff. I ain't subscribing. You know, doesn't shift right, you know, doesn't hit the clutch right. So it just kind of jams.
I like hearing you talk to me about car stuff.
You drive a lot of clutches, huh?
All right. It's now time for 90 seconds with Joel.
Wait. What I was going to say about that guy, he should try Pillars of Eternity if he liked Divinity 2.
Okay.
Or
What's
Divinity
the
Original Sin.
differences or similarities?
It's just really well polished. Like I liked the way they did the music and everything. It was just interesting.
James, I would love to see games like that come to the Nintendo Switch. Because I got the game. It's so good, but I just never put enough time like on PC to sit and play something like that. But I could see myself slowly inching my way through the game if it was on something like the Switch, because it just powers on so fast. I think games like that would fit perfectly on a system like that.
Yeah, like every B tier PC game for like the last 5 years, be like, hey, make that 720p, put it on the Switch.
I mean, like
Honestly,
Age of Empires, stuff like that.
If they're looking for
would do
content,
so well.
they could.
Yeah.
And I think it would do well.
If it was easy to port over to it, there are probably plenty of indie devs who were like, I don't care, let's do it. But it's now time for 90 Seconds with Joel, part of the podcast where Joel has prepared something for us, and I honestly don't know what this is.
Better not piss me off, sir.
Oh,
I'm going to kill it real quick.
You'll laugh.
All right, I've got it ready. Joel, let me know when you're ready, and I'll go ahead and drag it on in, and we can start this thing.
Okay.
James, you got the video?
I'm opening it back up. Hold on. Alrighty. Joey looked like he just cried and finished watching it.
No, okay. I recorded this because I didn't watch any of it. Like I randomly saw this feed and I was like, what is this? So I did a search on it and I was amazed at how this is a massive fad. So this is my first reaction to this.
All right. You ready?
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Go.
I don't even know how to begin on this. I just found out about this. I cannot believe this is a huge thing. There's videos with millions and millions of views. Oh my gosh. Okay. I have not watched this video yet. I'm just going to click play to watch fidget spinner, hand spinner fidget toy tips and tricks. There's a company called Pocket Fidget. There's companies. Here we go.
Hey guys, my name's Keegan from Pocket Fidget, and I want to give you some tips and tricks on how to use a fidget spinner. This is the Triune Spinner by Pocket Fidget, and we're going to use it today in this demonstration. The most basic move for a fidget spinner is to spin it on a table. And it's simply placing it on a tabletop, using your index finger to hold the spinner in place, and then your other index finger to give it a spin. With a hybrid ceramic bearing like this triune spinner, you can see that it will spin quite well. It could spin up to 2 minutes worth of time.
Hybrid ceramic.
You can also see that it's not wobbling around or moving, and that's a sign of a great spinner. But that's probably not why you bought a fidget spinner. You probably bought a fidget spinner so that you could fidget with it at work to get rid of some anxiety, some ADD, ADHD, to help you in that. And you could do that by using your thumb and index finger and placing them on the top and bottom center
Like holding
caps
it.
of the spinner. The easiest way would be to use your other hand to spin the spinner simply like this. But the best way, so that you can get some work
That
done,
seemed like the
is
logical
to use
way.
your thumb and index finger again on the center caps.
Get some work
and
done.
then wedge your middle finger in between the bearings on the tri-spinner. Give it a flick like that, and you'll see that it spins. But you can stop it with your middle finger, flip it
What?
around, and just continue to fidget with it all day long.
Oh my gosh.
But if you're just having some fun with it, you might take your thumb and your middle finger and place it on the caps, and then your index finger to give it a good spin.
Oh, they're switching it up.
And you can attempt to try to edge it from hand to hand.
What?
That's not too difficult if you put your fingers on the outer circle, center cap. But then you might want to try to toss it from hand to hand. More difficult. I've seen some guys on YouTube passing it pretty far, and it looks pretty exciting. The Pocket Fidget is going...
Okay, here we go. Another one. 12 awesome hand spinner fidget tricks and science experiment challenge. Okay, ready? Go.
Hey guys, welcome back to Incredible Science. Today, I got some more fidget spinner tricks. We're gonna do some awesome tricks with this, some hacks, some science experiments.
Some hacks?
So let's do it. I do have something cool to show you though. Remember I've been telling you, stay incredible, stay incredible. I've been getting caps and sunglasses and t-shirts. Well, I have something super awesome and I am giving one away in
Oh,
this
that microphone
video.
bothers me.
You guys know what a pop socket is, right?
No.
It's an awesome phone stand. You pop it out of your phone. You could use it as a stand, or you could just hold it as a selfie. These are the Stay Incredible ones, and I am giving one away.
This is a very surprising
in this
video.
If you don't want, is this right?
I'm learning
Yeah.
things that like I hate.
If you don't want to wait for the giveaway, or if you
Oh
don't
my
win, you can head on
gosh.
over to incrediblescience.com and buy one there. But I am giving one away in this video.
I came
And
here
it's
for the
simple.
fidget
All you have to
spinners,
do is be the first person to comment the exact time that I say the word pop.
It's like the
That
Nintendo Treehouse when they were going to announce this.
What are videos
Comment
becoming?
exactly what time I say the word pop, and this will be yours. All right, so let's get going, guys. And you definitely want to stay to the end because I have a really cool liquid nitrogen fidget experiment to show you.
Can we smash one?
Let's get to it.
Jeez.
All right, let's start off with a basic one. This, I don't even know if you call this a trick. It's called the elevator. You
Just
just
wait for
balance
it.
it on your finger.
There's names.
We're gonna toss it from one hand to the other as it's spinning.
No.
And you have to
No,
catch
you
it
don't have-
while it's still spinning.
You don't have to teach people how to do this. They'll just do it. That's, oh gosh, you don't need to make a video about toss.
This next trick is called the ceiling fan.
Oh, okay, that's the trick.
This, I mean, these have to be jokes.
Nice.
I wish there were jokes because there's like 1,000 videos of this. Oh my gosh, no, stop this. Okay, I'm done.
I was just laughing so because I still have the like tips like, okay, so to spin it, you spin it. It was like it's not like yo-yo tricks where you're like, okay, you have to learn something because they're really hard to do. It was just like, okay, so now you can spin it with a finger. Oh, okay, sweet. I'm really glad I saw this video so I learned how to do that. Like, it doesn't have anything else it could do. Can it fly?
Yeah, it is
You could spin
odd.
it on any body part.
So This is I actually learned in this video what fidget spinners are because I know that they're a thing and I just haven't wanted to like find out yet. I don't know. Like I just figured it was something that didn't apply to me and so I didn't need to invest any mental energy into learning about it. Now that I've seen it, I can understand, James, like why your kids would probably enjoy them. Like it's not hard to see why that could be fun. I don't understand the tricks, though. I'm going to be honest, because they don't really seem like tricks so much as hold the spinny thing, put the spinny thing over here. Now it's on the ceiling. Now it's on my nose. It's like it's still just spinning. Like you're not. I don't know what the trick is. And
Like
I
they had
agree with you.
spin toss back then too.
Yo-yoing, I feel like, and maybe this is just because we were young and this was the cool thing people got into. I feel like yo-yoing took more talent than fidget spinners.
Well, I mean, I did some more
I
research
don't think
on
the
it,
original
so-
intention was for it to just be like
No.
a trick
no.
thing.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't.
The whole point is to like if you fidget a lot,
Yeah.
to have something you can just be doing that doesn't involve your attention that much.
Yeah. That totally makes. I get the idea of like a fidget spinner existing. I agree with Joel. I don't understand the whole trick thing. Like,
So Joel, I hate to break this to you, but like stores are going to start carrying these like crazy.
Wow.
Five Below is where I bought the ones I bought for the kids,
Yeah.
which is next to a GameStop, and I was talking to the guy because they were walking around playing with them. They're like, yeah, we're getting a whole bunch. We're getting a bunch of different colors. We're getting fidget cubes. So GameStop's going to start carrying them. You're going to start seeing them in retail stores now, not just online.
Wow.
So
I mean, I did some
prepared.
reading, and I know that I know like the idea of it. I mean, basically, it's essentially a glorified pen. I mean, when I was in school, I would always just be flicking around a pen or doing something. I'd always be again fidgeting, where I'd have to learn to kind of not do that to focus because it would kind of screw me up. But I died laughing. There's tons of tips and tricks, but I'm like, it's just funny. It's like tips and trick videos on walking upstairs. It's like, first you got to use your right foot. Now you want to place it squarely on the next step. It's like, okay, thanks.
Joe, but you haven't even really gotten into the things you're going to hate about these things yet.
Oh no.
Because I mean, you obviously hate vaping, and you just think it looks stupid.
Yeah.
But when you found out that people were doing modified vapes and stuff like that,
Gosh.
they're modifiable in itself. You can take all the bearings out and put different pieces in.
What?
You can put like a pencil, put it like on a pencil and spin the pencil on the table. So you're going to be able to get modifiable parts at some point. I'm sure they already have a bunch of modified parts.
Best fidget spinner hacks and tricks.
So there will be mods, Joel. You could probably buy the mods at the vape store with the vape mods.
Well, you're so funny because I saw this video of one guy using this thing and then blowing like air, like pressurized air for like cleaning out keyboards and stuff on it and making it go to like a crazy amount of RPMs, and he was trying to scratch a phone. And I think it's cool that they can spin that long. Like again, even with yo-yos, I bought a $60 yo-yo once. I really loved it because it was much better than buying a crappy, $10 Dunkin' yo-yo because it spins a really long time. It's made, it's got nice parts to it. So if you do it a lot, whatever. But I was just amazed at the amount of videos that were just talking about tips and tricks and like all sorts of cool stuff. And it was just like, I got it on my finger. It'd be like, hey guys, basketball tricks. And I only just spin it on my finger. Like that was all I did. I was like, no, there's like a billion other cool things you can do with it. That's what just made me laugh so hard because it was like so serious. Like, hey guys, got a sweet video. Gonna show you some tips and tricks. That was gonna be so hardcore, and then smash that like button.
This is called the index thumb trick.
Yeah, I was like, now you place your hands. I'm like, you mean hold it? Like that's the only way to do it. Yeah. Well, that's very interesting to learn. It's the laser tag video I showed off a while ago. That was definitely worse than this. Definitely.
Joel,
But it's still
you need to buy
living
one before next week.
Maybe before next week.
Yeah,
me look-
Five
let me look.
Five Below has them.
Oh wow, they're already in my Amazon wish list right now, apparently, or like the recommended. Fidget Doctor. There's an American flag one, Chrome one.
They have
Whoa,
like
there's
really expensive ones that apparently spin for like
Yeah, there's a
5 minutes straight.
$150 one.
You have to buy one for next week and then bring it on the podcast.
Jeremiah, can we spend $10 of CSG money?
$10. That's a lot of money for.
The thing is, I know if we get you a fidget spinner, like
You don't. Okay,
you'll probably enjoy it though. That's the thing is you'll probably like it, and then you'll start using it a ton.
Well, here's the funny part: is I actually didn't like them from the first second I saw it because it reminded me of like quad drones and stuff. Like I just hear like when you flip them, they're like zzz. They look like
The
little
tiniest
drones.
whoop.
Yeah, the tiniest of whoops. Dang it! Yeah, I probably shouldn't get one of these because I feel like I would spin it a lot.
Just get one so we can see you doing it on the podcast.
But I have to learn tricks and
they're as
stuff.
cheap as like $3.
I just found one for $248 plus free shipping.
Do it.
All right. With that, I think it's time to go ahead and wrap the podcast down. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and being a part of the show. As always, be a part of the show by writing in casualshenanigans@gmail.com or catching us live, youtube.com/casualshenanigans, Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you can catch the video on demand later on YouTube. And, of course, you can subscribe and get the audio on iTunes or your podcast service of choice. There's an RSS feed in the description. James, you got anything else before we go? You look like you got a comment burning you up over there.
No.
Okay. All right. You just
Got
had
a comment spinning
See you
inside
next Thursday.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. We'll see you later. And until next time, guys, you think we can get 1,000 likes in this video? You think we can
Oh,
do
if
it?
they smash it.
Only if they smash it.
Bash those likes.
If you don't bash it, there needs to be 2 like buttons, like a regular like and then a smash like button where you have to like click it 5 times in a row before it registers.
What things have
They
people
should
not
just add
said
that to
about liking?
keyboards. The smash like.
A like smash.
Well, they
Actually,
already
there probably
have
is. There
the
probably
internet
is somehow.
forum key, the caps lock key. Oh, have you seen the subreddit r/insane people Facebook?
No, please send it.
r/insane people Facebook.
I can't spell.
But so great because you remember Clippy, Microsoft Clippy?
Yeah.
Somebody left a comment with a picture of Clippy, and in the little note that Clippy pops up says, "I see you're typing unsubstantiated bullshit on the internet again. Would you like to activate all caps?"
Did you guys see H3 video? It was one they were reading off Facebook comments from like senior citizens. One was so freaking funny. Oh my gosh, I died. Well, it was such a sad comment, but like what they left was just like, what? So apparently someone's family, somebody died in it, right? And this grandma posted it in Facebook. She thought it'd be really cute, but it's like a little emoji of a dog, and it's just waving, and it just has a little quote that just says "bye." That's all she posted. I'm like, oh my gosh. But like I can just imagine Granny going, oh, like it's a cute dog going, bye, you know? But like it's just like bye. You gotta look it up. I died because it's just like oh yeah, so it's like my uncle passed away. It's like, bye. It's like, oh my gosh.
Hope's grandma, one time later in life, they were over visiting, and they visited and they talked, and like the conversation, like the sentence ended or something, and something inside her mind was just like, all right, this was the natural end of this visit. And she went, well, there's the door.
Wow.
Hope like cross-stitched that into a thing that her mom hangs above the door in their house now, and goes, well, there's the door.
That should be how we end the show.
Well, there's the end.